Hello, it's John Lord here in our front car park, and we are surrounded by all this lovely tarmac, and we are going to do a video on planting a rose. And before we start, climbing rose, before we start, we have this little building here, and it's very sort of industrial, but the secret of industrial buildings is to be surrounded by greenery. They actually blend in very well, and we put a few Phyllostachys in front, and they took a long time to get going for the new growth. This is what I mean by getting going. This year's. So we gave it this year's growth. That's that piece from there to there, about 2 weeks. And that piece from there, that piece there that's higher than me, about 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. And we water them really well. You have to water them really well till they establish, and once they establish, they're on their own. And behind here we have a gas tank, and that's the height of the gas tank. We painted everything dark green just to sort of blend it in. We have a nice oak tree there, native oak, and it's very happy here. And I'll tell you how I know it's happy. Starting a family. There's a little oak tree there. We'll dig that up and we plant it. And we're going to get rid of all this weedy stuff, which is actually all the fashion now. And if we look at this weedy stuff, we see, what do we see? We see birch seedlings. Now, if they were left alone, come back here in 10 years' time and you'd have 20-foot birch trees. And which birch is it? Is it the downy birch or the silver birch? And you can close your eyes and you can tell the difference by rub the stems. And the stems are soft and downy. It's a downy birch, Betula pubescens, and the stems are slightly warty. It's Betula pendula, the more elegant lady of the woods. The downy birch is the one you see in the bogs. The bog birch likes the wetter ground. It's not quite as attractive. It doesn't have that lovely elegant look, but anyway, that's what we have, Betula pubescens. So we're going to get rid of all of this, all those weeds. Well, actually, they're not weeds. Weeds are planted in the wrong place, and we mightn't even bother. We don't know. And we're going to plant climbing rose. And I like the orange. Orange climber. It's a rose called Westerland. I think it's German rose. Or else we're going to plant another German rose called Heidelberg. We've got a lot of German roses this year because we had supply chain issues with the normal ones we have, and they're actually it's actually good to get something a bit different. Try it out. Now, this one or this one. Oh, that's a hard decision. I hate these decisions. It's sort of an existential decision. I think my original idea was the orange. Now, you know what we might do? We might stick the red here. Let it go up there. And how are we going to stake it? Found an old trellis. Now, trellis this way, or is it this way? I'm not really sure. I'd say probably this way. Now, if you're using wire on the wall, always keep it parallel and have it very neat. If you have block work, put it between every maybe second or third course, but have it neat. Don't have the wire going all over the place, and then tie onto the wire. You can put it under the wire, but it's generally better to have it over the wire and tie on. Now, say that was the goal, like that. Put it up and we paint it the same colour, and then we put the rose here. That one sort of up like that. But that's for another day. We plant the rose. And is it grafted or is it from cuttings? I think it's a graft. I think that's the graft union there. Just there. So we'll plant it. You always bury the graft union. It's important with roses. So we plant it to about there. And the reason it's important, because if you bury the graft union, below the graft union is a different plant, often a different species of rose. But the reason you bury is because it might send out roots, its own roots, and might need a rootstock anymore. The reason their roses are grafted is primarily for production purposes. They can be equally well grown from cuttings. Now, where did we decide? Out here. Well, let's hope the gas pipe isn't anywhere near, or we get a very technicolor video. Out here. See, I have the same problem as everyone else. See, you never, if you're thinking about gardening, it doesn't have that degree of total precision. You have a little bit of leeway, which is what's good about it, because the plants make up the difference over time. Out there. And if you notice, a lot of orangey roses, they fade to pink. We won't hold against them. We plant it there. Out. You think your ground is bad? Bloody hell. I'm not sure we'll be able to do this. It's just gravel. We can try and reach the mineral or the proper earth below, and then we're okay. Bloody hell. Oh, I don't think this isn't great. That's a bit of mineral earth there, of its own earth. And that's it there. Very compressed. Yeah, it'll be very limey, because gravel will be quite limey, but won't quite good for the rose actually. Bloody hell. You know, we're definitely getting proper earth. So I don't know whether this is going to be viable. My thing will be a mini digger. We won't be planting that second rose, by the way. No. You sort of know when you've been gardening a long time, when you've gone deep enough. And I think. Nope. Yeah, it's getting a bit easier. Yep. We leave they're just sort of gimmicky sticks for selling purposes, really. Actually, I'll probably take them away, but what do we do? Take them away. Oh no, we're going to lose our lovely flower. This ain't working out great, David. Look what we end up with. Perfect. Look, too deep. Now a bit of compost. Well, I just used any type of compost. I'm not really fussy. It's more for the organic matter. I use it for the organic matter rather than, and I don't like using manure. I think the compost is better. It's more structural. Put the compost in. Now this is where you can go wrong. Do not plant it into the compost. You have to mix the compost. Mix it all up. You just don't have one compost and then everything else. Mix as much as you can. Below the ground. Mix everything up and then loosen a bit around it as well. Poor little Rose. And just when you're finishing, someone has to start their lawnmower up. stop for a second, I'll get some water and we'll water it. And that's the finish. Now, lots of water. You have to puddle it in. And we leave that there and come back in an hour and give it another go. Now, I had intended to plant Japanese anemones here as well, because they will be able to compete with the natives. The problem with Japanese anemones is they're beautiful, particularly the white one. I can never pronounce it. Honorine Jobert or Hobert. The problem with Japanese anemones in a normal garden is they're a bit thuggish. They shouldn't take over, but they would have good fun fighting with the natives here. But I ain't going to dig any holes, more holes. So it's just a rose on its own. We probably will put that red one in there, all right. And I'll do that. I won't do that today. But what else? We paint that trellis and put the trellis there, and we keep an eye on it. And I can bet in a month's time, 6 weeks' time, that will be full of orange flowers.